Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Lots of things are happening now that I just got back. Um and a lot of news popping up. My phone is um coming up with lots and lots of notifications because the double game week 25 announcement has been made. Right, so if you guys haven't checked it out already, Double Game Week 25 is now confirmed, at least for Man City and Brentford. So I'll show you guys the announcement in a bit. I'm sure all of you guys are already reacting to it, but I haven't had time to at least process that information because I was getting ready for the stream. And as I was preparing for the stream, I just kept getting tweets and notifications about it. So I guess this is probably gonna be my immediate reaction to Double Game Week 25. And I guess my first reaction is that it is not unexpected. We already knew that there was a very high likelihood of Man City and Brentford doubling. But now that it's announced, we can make our transfers this week with a bit more certainty. So I've already brought in Foden and Pascal Gross for Son and Salah. But I think now there is a potential for me to make one more transfer and do Livermento to Kyle Walker and bench Taylor, whom I'm not 100% certain that he's going to start. So the thing with Kyle Walker is that I wasn't 100% certain whether I wanted Kyle Walker or Estupinian. So before the double game week announcement, I was ready to delay that transfer and play Charlie Taylor for this game week 21, and then wait till next week to decide whether I wanted Estupinian or Kyle Walker. But now that the double game week 25 announcement is out, I guess I can just move for Kyle Walker right now. I guess my decision has been pretty much made for me. The only thing about Kyle Walker now is the bad press that he's getting at the moment. His personal issues about things in his personal life that basically make him a little bit of a doubt. I honestly don't think that it would rule him out of the games. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen. And let me know what you guys are doing now that the double game week announcement is out. Let me just put it on screen so that we are all on the same page. So basically, this is what we have right now. Right, Man City and Brentford have a double game week in game week 25. Right, so pretty much they just go on to say when the double game week will be. It's going to be when the game will be held. Right, so it's 20th February, giving both sides a double in game week 25. Man City are at home in both of their double game week fixtures. So there's Chelsea and then Brentford. And for Brentford, it's going to be slightly tougher. It's City and then Liverpool. So there we go. Right, I want to know what you guys are doing. Let me know in the chat. Does this change your plans? Have you already made your transfer? And yeah, I just want to know how are you guys reacting to it? Alright, so thank you guys for coming down early, by the way. Lots of people in the chat. I imagine there's going to be loads of questions surrounding Salah replacements, Son replacements. I've already made my choice. Right, I've gone for Pascal Gross and Phil Foden. But pretty much, I imagine there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding that. Double game weeks. And yeah, lots of things that we're dealing with at this point in time. So let's see what this stream brings, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be loads of questions. So get your questions in the chat and let's spend the next hour or so talking about FPL because it's kicking on. I actually thought that January was going to be a little bit more of a chill month for FPL. But I mean, the games that have been happening in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and also now this double game week announcement. I feel like we can't let our guard down. FPL is just such a dynamic game. Right, so let's say hi to some of you guys in the chat. AA Ong, thank you for coming early. Who are the best replacements for both Salah and Son? Exactly. AJ as well, thank you for coming early. Marcus, Roger, members in the chat. VJ as well. All right. Let's talk about, let me move back to my team. Right, because I'm sure everyone is caught up with the double game week announcement. If you aren't, double game week 25 is confirmed for Man City and Brentford. Alright, so let's get some questions out of the way. Salah and Son. Alright, so to answer the first question, who are the best replacements for Salah and Son? I think I'll go even further back and I'll say, do you have to sell both Salah and Son? I don't think it's a must to sell Salah. I think Son is a pretty straightforward sell, but Salah, there's potential that you can hold on to him depending on your transfer plans moving forward. So for my team, I've had to sell both of them because I don't have a strong enough bench. But I know some of you guys are holding on to players like Anthony Gordon, players like Kieran Trippier. Those are perfectly fine players to at least hide out this one game week. And then come the next game week, you get more information. AFCON is going to happen. A couple of games, you get to see how Egypt is going to perform. And then you also will get confirmation of the doubles, confirmation of the blanks at least in Game Week 26. Then you're probably going to get double Game Week announcements as well. We've already had one double Game Week confirmed for Brentford and Man City. Potentially, we're going to get the Liverpool and Luton one incoming. So by the Game Week 22 deadline, you could already know if Liverpool's going to double in Game Week 25. And then, of course, by then, if you have Salah still, maybe you hold on to him. Right, so I think before I answer Salah and Son replacements, I'm just going to say that there's no necessity to sell both. I think selling Son is the one that I would sell first, followed by Salah. Right, so in terms of replacements, I think the standout one is Phil Foden. Right, so I'm sure a lot of, I guess, content creators and also I guess a lot of FPL managers have already moved for Phil Foden. And I think there's good reason why he is the standout replacement. I mean, at this point in time, a couple of players still out for Man City. And also the double Game Week 25 incoming for Phil Foden. So I think Foden is pretty much the one that I will go for. I mean, if you don't talk about players like Saka and Palmer, if you don't have them already, maybe you go for them. But I think there's a chance I even go for Phil Foden ahead of Saka and Palmer now that double Game Week 25 is announced. So Foden definitely top of the list. Next up, I think you could go Richarlison or Pascal Gross. Now, both of them, I'm not 100% sold on either, but I've gone for Pascal Gross here for the numbers. I think when I was looking at his numbers before making the transfer last night, his numbers have actually been very, very good and very, very consistent. So he's putting up, from game week 13 onwards, it's 0.30, 0.56, 71, 85, 58, 54, 33, 76. It's pretty much, he's very, very involved in the attack. Fair to say that majority of it comes from expected assist. But you see against West Ham, he did have that big chance as well. So I think in general, he's not a player that is shy of getting into the box, I would say, and he does have a good finish in him. Majority of his threat will come from assist. So I think with Gross, you just have to know pretty much what you're getting into. As for Richarlison, you're getting a player that is playing center forward. So that's slightly different. But I'm also just not 100% sold on Richarlison, given how short-term of an option he feels to me. Right, and Werner coming in, I actually foresee him sharing minutes moving forward. I don't see Brennan Johnson or neither do I see Kulusevski missing out. Maybe the four of them start to rotate a little bit until Son comes back. But yeah, at this point in time, I think Gross and Richarlison, there's good reason to go for them. There's also, I mean, that's pretty much a situation that we're in. There's no 100% clear option, aside from Phil Foden, I would say. Right, and then the other options that I did consider as well, slightly cheaper, Pedro Neto. I've also looked at Garnacho. So Garnacho, I think, frees up a lot of funds. And I think moving forward, Garnacho could be the enabler for my team to bring Salah back. But I kind of made a decision to go for Pascal Gross here instead of Garnacho for a couple of reasons. I'll show you guys my transfer plans later on, but I can take a punt on a midfielder. I've chosen Pascal Gross. I've chosen Pascal Gross, and later on, I think Gross will make way for Garnacho so that I can do Saka to Salah. This may sound a bit confusing now, but I'll show you guys the transfer plans later on. But at least in terms of Son and Salah replacements, I think those are my favorite. I definitely wouldn't buy Jarrod Bowen. Jarrod Bowen is injured, so I wouldn't buy him. Paqueta being injured, in fact, like for a longer period of time, actually puts me off Bowen even much more than Bowen being injured for a shorter period of time. Right. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Rambled on a bit there, but I do imagine that that is going to be highly asked. Give me a moment. Okay, let's see the made an early transfer on Bowen. Should I hold or sell? If you've made a transfer on Bowen, it really depends. I think if you have Bowen right now, if you have a good 8th attacker, I probably would hold Bowen. Wait for a while. He may be back soon enough. Right? But once again, Paqueta being out, as I said, puts me off Jarrod Bowen more than Bowen being out. Yeah. Hold Salah to prevent value loss. The thing with Salah is that he's been due a price drop for the longest time already. But I don't really... I mean, I see the price drop coming soon. But once again, the thing with price drops is that I feel... Or at least the thing with losing value is that the player will eventually drop in value. Right? When everybody starts to sell Salah, everybody starts to sell Son, he's going to drop in value. They both are going to drop in value. And then when you buy them back, you're going to buy them back at cheaper as well. Right? So I think at this point, I don't see a super big reason to prevent value loss. I think holding Salah for me would be more so in terms of the potential double in 25, and also having to spend 2 transfers, transferring him out and transferring him back in. I don't think money is that much of an issue. So, but yeah. I was thinking of making cheap transfers this week and avoiding Foden, Richarlison, etc. And going for either Eze or Gordon to prepare for Haaland back next week, now that he's confirmed out. Your thoughts? Yeah, so the thing with a lot of our teams right now is that I do understand there are some people considering super cheap options. Super cheap options like Garnacho that I just mentioned or Douglas Luiz. But the thing with these options is they're definitely not as good as the 6 million-ish midfielders, or I mean Richarlison and Gordon, I would put them ahead of Garnacho. But the thing with going for a player like Garnacho is that he enables your future moves, right? So that's why I did consider him for a moment. But again, not too keen on the cheap ones. Gordon or Eze, I don't think I would buy Gordon. Eze maybe, but he has Arsenal this week. So I think it's either you go slightly more expensive, whether it's Pascal Gross or Richarlison, and then either that or you go super cheap, Garnacho. I don't think I would go Eze or Gordon if I'm honest. Who should I captain, Palmer or Saka? I'm currently on Saka. Right, I'm currently on Saka. Yes, I'll get around to the questions, not to worry. I'll get around to the questions. Yeah, I usually like to speak about what's happening on my mind at least, so it sets the tone for what I'm thinking about. So the advice that I give after that would be surrounded, or at least there's context as to why I'm giving certain advice, right? So at least if you don't really want to pay attention to that one, I guess you can tune out for a while. Yeah. All right, but I'll get around to the questions now. I would probably go for Saka ahead of Palmer. It's not super clear. But I think I'm going for Saka because, firstly, I think the numbers recently have been slightly better for Saka as compared to previous game weeks where we felt as if he wasn't doing super well. And then, of course, I feel like Arsenal need a response. Right? I mean, so do Chelsea after losing to Middlesbrough. But I feel like Chelsea versus Fulham is not it's not as easy as a fixture as Crystal Palace at home for Arsenal at least. So I favor Saka a little bit more than Palmer. It's not super clear cut, but I think for now I'm leaning towards Saka. But I'm interested to know who you guys are captaining. I mean, let's do a captaincy poll. Let's do a captaincy poll and see what you guys are thinking about. There's so many options though. I'm gonna put the more popular ones. So Gameweek 21 captaincy poll. Saka, Palmer. I think there's some people considering Foden as well. I don't mind it. Watkins slash Foden, and maybe an other, in case you guys are thinking of something else. So let me know who you guys are captaining. Once again, I think there's no clear-cut captain this week. Which combination of these is a better replacement for Salah and Son? Foden grows, Foden Richarlison grows. What do you think of... Also, do you think Tony is nailed in the Brentford squad? I think there's a good chance Tony starts. I mean, they honestly can't do without him at this point in time. The attackers are just not doing great, and also Bomo is also out, so I think they have to play Tony. I would say my favorite one would probably be the combination that I went for, which is Foden and Pascal Gross. So I probably recommend that as well. But I think it's not clear cut, right? It's definitely not clear cut. Who to captain? Salah, Saka, Palmer, Bowen, Foden. So Bowen is out, so I don't think I'll captain him. For Saka, Palmer, and Foden, I'm currently on Saka. Right, I think the thing about all these captaincy options is that there's no clear cut ones, so it's very, very hard for me to push an agenda and say Saka is the best captain. I honestly don't think there's a clear cut one, but for now I'm leaning towards Saka. What do I do? One free transfer. Team is Areola, Dubravka, Taylor, Porro, Trent, Cash, Saliba, Son, Saka, Gordon, Salah, Palmer, Watkins, Solanke, Alvarez. Front three are fine. Palmer's alright. Gordon, Saka, Son, and Salah. I'd probably sell Son if I were in your position. Yep, I'll probably sell Son. Likely to Foden. Yep. Is Tony a good option? I don't mind him, but I think the fixtures moving forward are not the easiest for him. He will have more fixtures than the majority of other FPL assets during this next couple of game weeks, but the fixtures aren't easy. All right. Toby's in the chat. Remember, nice to see you. Thoughts on Tony as a differential? I prefer João Pedro as a differential, if I'm honest. I prefer João Pedro. If you guys are deciding on your third forward, I much prefer João Pedro to Ivan Toney. I've got Eze on my wild card, but he's not in the starting 11. I mean, Crystal Palace's fixtures moving forward after the Arsenal one are pretty alright. So I do understand you going for him. I think the thing that just puts me off Eze a little bit is Olise being injured. That's the only thing. But the fixtures are actually there. I've taken a look at the fixtures, they're definitely there. By the way, there's 96 of you guys here. If you guys are enjoying the stream, please do drop a like And also please subscribe as well. Bowen to Foden for a hit or play Branthwaite and Botman. Is the early move for Bowen. I think I'm Bowen to Foden for a hit. Well, the thing with Foden is that he's definitely going to get one more fixture than Bowen over the next few game weeks. I'm also not 100% sold that Bowen's going to do very well now that Paqueta is going to be out for a while. It could be worth a hit. And I don't think Branthwaite or Botman will keep a clean sheet. So I think it could be worth a hit. What to do with Sterling? I think you could hold for one more week. I mean, you probably have other issues to deal with than to sell Raheem Sterling. Should I buy De Bruyne? I think there was a hint as to whether De Bruyne is going to start. I think there was some good news from Pep about De Bruyne potentially getting a run out. But based off of what he said as well, I think he's probably going to be benched. If I'm to guess, he's going to be benched and then come on sometime in the second half. Right, that's my guess for Kevin De Bruyne. Did you make your transfers? Yes, I've made my transfers. So my transfers were Son and Salah out, Foden and Pascal Gross in. So the order that I did it was slightly different from a lot of people because I already knew that I was going to sell both of them, right? Which is slightly different, as I mentioned in the team selection video, is slightly different from what people are going to do, right? At least some are thinking of keeping Salah, but for me, I knew I had to sell both. And in terms of my transfers, I made them largely driven by price changes, right? So Salah was going to drop and Foden was going to rise, so I moved for Foden sometime on Tuesday. And then for Pascal Gross, I sold Son and moved for Gross before he rose in price last night. So that's when I made my transfers. Which I think in hindsight is also late enough. I think I gave it a week. I already took a couple of price drops. So I think that was alright. Alvarez captain. I should have put Alvarez there. I should have put Alvarez in the captaincy poll. But 52% of you guys are captaining Saka as well. Palmer is at 25. But there's only 65 votes. So let's see where the poll goes towards the end. A bit early for De Bruyne. Wait to see how his minutes are being managed. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that one. Well, if he gets consistent starts in the Premier League, maybe he becomes the third Man City asset to have come Gameweek 25. Maybe. Currently on a -4, I have Bowen Osula as my 11th starter. Should I take a -8 to replace Osula? If yes, who should I bring? It's going to be a short-term move. I'll have to move him to Haaland soon. -8 to replace Osula, but you're gonna that spot's gonna be for Haaland. Probably not. I probably wouldn't do that. In fact, maybe I prefer selling Bowen then. Captain Tony. I mean, he plays against Nottingham Forest, right? If I'm not wrong. You could, but I mean, it's his first game back from suspension, so probably wouldn't go there. Pascal Gross or João Pedro, I'm assuming. If I had a choice, I actually think that if I had a choice of going for a third forward, I would go for João Pedro. I actually think João Pedro is a better option than Pascal Gross. But because I needed to free up, or I needed to sell Son, I have to go for Pascal Gross. But I really, really do like João Pedro. Like, if I had the chance, or if my team was in the position to go for a third forward, I would have gone for João Pedro. He's on penalties. His looks really good. The fixtures are there. Yeah, I just really like him as an option. And the minutes also look really good for him. Adingra is gone. Mitoma is gone as well. Best defender to buy this game week, it's either Estupiñán or Kyle Walker. I'm not gonna say Estupiñán is better than Kyle Walker because Kyle Walker probably has a double in 25. I mean, he does have a double in 25, now that we know. Should I make transfers this week to save money for Haaland in 22, or is he a risk to start that game as well since he's been ruled out of Gameweek 21? Not really. I don't see it that way. Just because he's ruled out of 21 doesn't mean he's ruled out of 22, because there are, I think, Gameweek 21 spans 2 weeks, and then there's also an extra midweek. I think it's going to be about 18 days until the Gameweek 22 deadline. So just because he's ruled out of 21 doesn't mean he's going to be ruled out for 22. So I think, yes, that you should make your transfers this week to save money for Haaland. -4, Trent or Estupinian, or play Taylor. I'm not too keen on selling Trent, I'll be honest, this week, because I've read a couple of reports. Some of them have mixed estimated time of when he's going to come back from injury. Some are saying maybe the Arsenal game, some are saying maybe the Chelsea game. So obviously the 22 fixture is Chelsea, the 23 is Arsenal, and they're pretty close. So I feel like I'm not so keen on selling Trent, I'll be honest. Play Taylor though. I mean, for now I have Taylor. I think I'm probably going to take a hit to bring Kyle Walker in. Probably going to do that. Vincent says, if Kevin De Bruyne starts, is he a better option than Foden? I mean, obviously, if both of them start, I would prefer Kevin De Bruyne. But the thing is his minutes. His minutes are definitely not as secure as Foden for now. Kath then says, should I start Trippier or Pedro Porro? Should I start Trippier or Pedro Porro? I will start Porro. Crown says, good day, mate. Do you think Zinchenko is going to play? Good day to you as well. I mean, based off of the at least predicted lineups that I've seen, I think there's a good chance that he plays. Should I sell Haaland a wildcard when I'm going to get him back this next week? I think if I wildcarded this week, I definitely would have Haaland in my team. I don't see a reason why you would not have Haaland and then book in a transfer in 22 to bring him in later on. I would just start with Haaland, and then you can go for João Pedro as your other striker. He already saves more money than someone like Solanke, right? So, I mean, if I had Solanke now, there's no reason for me to sell, but if I wasn't a wild card, maybe I sell Solanke to João Pedro and then start with Haaland as well. Would you take a City defender in double game week 25? So, Ricky, I think that's kind of where I'm leaning towards now. I'm kind of leaning towards Kyle Walker instead of Estupinian, right? And of course, that is dependent on how confident I am of Charlie Taylor starting, which for now is not super confident. Front seven are Foden, Pascal Gross, Saka, Palmer, Neto, Watkins, João Pedro. What do you think? I like it. I actually think João Pedro is a really good differential. I like this front seven. Hi Tommy, previously made an early transfer, Salah to Bowen for -4. Is it worth a transfer to transfer him out again for a -8 for Pascal Gross? Well, I think the thing with early moves on Bowen is that I guess you have to take each point of decision, right, as what's the best move for your team right now. And if you've already moved for Bowen, unfortunately he got injured, and then now at this point in time, looking at your team, what is the best move? And if that involves selling Bowen, because maybe you have a lack of replacements on the bench, then I guess unfortunately that could be the right play. I'm not ruling it out. I just think that after the decision has been made, you made the transfer already. I think it's time to just reassess, clear your head, and I guess just move forward objectively. And if that involves selling him, so be it. I'm not against it. Start Edison or Areola this week, and who do you prefer, Jota or Richarlison? I would start Areola ahead of Edison, and I would also prefer Richarlison over Jota for minutes. Pedro over Tony? Yes, I'll go João Pedro over Tony. Should Mubama start in the absence of Bowen, Kudus, and Paqueta, or at least get subbed on? I do think so. I do think Mubama will start. But I also don't think that West Ham are going to be as creative as they have been in the past few game weeks. So because of that, just because Mubama is playing, doesn't make me feel as if he's going to be that super good of an option. Would you rather take a hit for Pascal Gross or Estupinian in a vacuum, assuming we are replacing a non-starter? Then I go for Pascal Gross, because if I'm honest, I actually think that Estupinian may concede against Wolves. Wolves have been really good in attack. I think there's a good chance that they will score against Brighton. So at least based off of what I feel is going to happen, and if I just have to make a decision based off Gross or Estupinian, probably go for Pascal Gross. Alif says, Happy New Year to you. Made my transfers already, took a -4. Please rate it. Salah to Foden, Son to Gross, Trent to Estupinian. I like those two moves. Not so sure about Trent to Estupinian, because you may want Trent back, but I can also understand why you've done it. He's probably going to be out for this game. There's no confirmation of when he's going to be back, so you could, of course, dodge him for Chelsea and Arsenal and then bring him back maybe in 24 or 25 when they double. So I don't mind it. In fact, I think those are good moves. Start Edison or Areola? I would start Areola. Taylor will start. Massive match for Burnley tonight. Well, I hope so. I mean, I'm not 100% set on selling Livramento for a hit. If I do it, it'll be for a hit, right? And it will be to replace Taylor. So let's see. Luton have been pretty good in attack as well. Something to bear in mind. Skip your question. Pedro over Tony. I prefer João Pedro. Do I get rid of Bowen or Gross for Jota or someone else? Bowen replacements probably still. I mean, it's Pascal Gross, it's Richarlison, it's Jota. My preferred one is Pascal Gross, just for how sure I am that he's gonna get 90 minutes every single game. Jota could be subbed on in the second half. Richarlison could be taken off early even though he starts. I think Pascal Gross is the one that is definitely going to get 90 minutes, and his numbers have been really good. I think I don't usually go for analytics picks, but Pascal Gross is definitely a analytics FC pick. Play Martinez or Areola. That one is slightly tougher, but I think I will probably go Areola still. Pedro or Tony for a 1 week punt? I would go for João Pedro. I prefer João Pedro over Tony. I mean, Tony just came back from suspension. I mean, Simon says, why would I have Haaland a wild card if we don't know when he's going to be back? Because eventually, I mean, you're free to kind of make your wildcard draft, but I just think in my position, I would just have Haaland so that I save myself transfers moving forward, and I can bring players like Salah or Trent, because I don't think I would have Salah or Trent in my Gameweek 21 wildcard draft. I actually made a draft as one of the videos just before the stream, so you can check that one out. But the reason why I would have Haaland is because I'm probably not going to have Salah, I'm probably not going to have Trent. Come Gameweek 25, if they double, I want my transfers to be focused on those players instead. Or at least making the funds for those players if I need to shift around some funds. Eze or Gordon in, can you weigh them both up as a Son replacement? I mean, they both have tough fixtures this week. Eze has Arsenal. Gordon has Newcastle. I think on the balance, I would say that Gordon plays for the better attack. Though he's not on penalties, he plays for the better attack. If I was going for one, it depends how long you need this option. I think in the long term, I foresee Gordon outscoring Eze. Because after Man City and Aston Villa next week, Gordon has a good run of fixtures. So it depends how long you're going to need this option for. But if assuming you're going to need him for about 5 to 6 game weeks, maybe Gordon. Rashan says, hello mate, if I already did a -4 and if I activate my wildcard, my -4 point will be deducted or will it erase? So if you take hits and then you activate your wildcard after that, your hits would be, basically there would be no points taken off you. So your hits would be as if you didn't take them at all. They would just be counted as part of your wildcard. So you no longer will be deducted extra points. But I think if you're using your wildcard just to erase a -4 hit, probably not super worth it. Probably not super worth it. I have Salah, Son, Gordon, Palmer, Richarlison, and in front Haaland, Watkins, Archer. What should I do? Probably sell Son to Foden. I'll probably do that. And you could also consider Archer up to João Pedro. Wouldn't I say Solanke or João Pedro? If I was buying one this week, I would buy João Pedro. I don't think Bournemouth are going to double in 25. I think Liverpool are more likely to double in Gameweek 25. What about Taylor? What about him? I have no idea if he's going to start. I have no idea. I mean, I would hope that he's going to start. In fact, if he starts, he's going to save me a transfer. So I do hope that Taylor starts. But Company was very careful with his words. So he didn't want to let us know whether Taylor was going to start. That would have made our lives so much more easy. As if it wasn't difficult enough. He just didn't want to say anything about Charlie Taylor. FPL Jelly's in the chat. Nice to see you. Hope all's well. Struggling like everyone else this week. To get 11 out, I need to sell Son for a -4. Would it go cheap to allow funds for Haaland next week or just get Foden? Great question. I think just because there's no timeline, I guess I go for Foden now. It depends how you want to take the gamble. If you're gambling that Haaland is not going to be back soon, then maybe you go for Foden now. But if you think he's going to be back soon, maybe you go cheap like Garnacho. Right? It depends at least where you wanna gamble and how long you think Haaland is going to be out for. Will you go for Haaland after Nunes? Exactly. So I think let's put up the transfer planner. I'll show you guys at least what I'm thinking about when I was making my moves last night. Right, so okay, so this is where we're at. I currently have Trent Alexander-Arnold benched. Right, this is how my team looks like for the time being. Of course, Foden is in, and of course, I also have Pascal Gross here. So the plan for this week, before the double game week announcement, was actually to roll. Hopefully Taylor starts, and then I roll. Come 22, I sell Darwin for Haaland, assuming that Haaland is back. Come game week 23, the plan was to either roll or bring in a Man City defender. So that would be Livramento for someone like Kyle Walker. So I have this plan for 23 or 24. But I could bring it forward, of course, to now in Game Week 21, right? So at least this was the plan, right? And then come 24, I roll. At 25, the plan was to sell Saka for Salah, who potentially would double here. Let me just set the... By the way, if you are using the fpl.team transfer planner, you can click on the button that I just clicked, which is Set Planet FPL Projected Fixtures. And basically, they have the doubles already, set in stone here. So there we go. So Salah in for Saka. I'll need a minus 1.4. I'll need an extra 0.4, basically 1.4. The plan was to sell Pascal Gross here to Garnacho. Right, so then I would have 3 players from Man City, and assuming I make these moves, right? So Garnacho and Salah, I will start Trent, assuming he's back as well. And then this would be how my bench looks like. Come game week 26, this is actually when I potentially may need to take a hit, because this is when the projections for Liverpool as well as Spurs and Chelsea is that they would all blank. So in that event, I would need everyone to play, everyone that's on my bench, and I bring all those that are blanking onto the bench here. So the plan for this game week actually was to sell Salah in game week 26. So after I've brought him back in for 25, I sell him again, Saka in, and Bowen in, which by then hopefully he's back already. And then moving forward, I can go without Salah, at least because he blanks in 26 and he also blanks in 29, and he has Man City in between. So that is the plan for now. And that's why you see that Garnacho is an important player to enable my game week 25 moves, because in game week 25, I'm selling Pascal Gross. Right, so 26, this is how it's going to look for a -4 hit. And then moving forward, the team should be quite set for the next few game weeks until I wildcard. So for now, this is the plan. Of course, it may not work out exactly like that. And of course, at this time, we're booking in a lot of transfers. But with all the blanks and doubles moving forward, at least I need to have a plan. And for now, that seems like what I'm likely to do. Alright, so hopefully that one was useful for you guys. But I have so much indecision right now, because there's going to be a lot of information come game week 22, where by the deadline we're going to get, I think, close to 4 to 5 different pieces of information. Who's confirmed to blank in 26. The FA Cup 5th round draw will also have happened by the game week 22 deadline. We're also going to know who has gotten through after the 4th round of the FA Cup. We're also going to know the doubles potentially for 25. So there's so much information that I don't want to make too much, or at least I don't want to commit to my moves right now. I want to try and delay as much as possible. So that's why, for now, if I'm able to convince myself that Charlie Taylor plays, or if I'm confident enough, or if we get a leak somehow, I have no idea if we have any Burnley ITKs, but if we know that Taylor starts, I'm pretty certain I'm just going to roll the transfer. Not take the hit, basically. I've already used 2 free transfers. Can we get the stream up to 100 likes? Are we at 100 likes? We are at 41 likes. If you guys are watching, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. If you do enjoy it, please drop a like as well. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers. Is Pedro Porro worth it on a wild card? Definitely. I would definitely have Pedro Porro on a wild card. Start Trippier or Konza? I would start Konza. Alvarez or Watkins for captaincy? For captaincy or to bring in this week? I mean, if you're talking about captaincy, maybe Alvarez, because I would assume he's on pens. Would you be willing to take a -12 to get rid of Salah, Son, Bowen, and Nkunku, or use the wild card? Well, the -12 is actually the maximum that I would go to. Is the maximum that I would go to. Anything beyond that, I would use the wild card. So that's actually my threshold. Why everyone talks about Garnacho and nobody talks about Sarabia? I think it's the fixture run for me. It's the fixture run, right? I actually prefer Manchester United's fixture run, which is not bad at all. Start Taylor or Cash? I honestly don't think Cash would come into the team. Cons is still there. I don't think Matty Cash would start. So probably Taylor. I've done Gross, Foden, and Tony for a -4. Feel like there aren't many good standout captains this week, so I've taken a punt on Tony, hoping the -4 would pay off if other popular captains blank. All the best. That could work out. That could work out. Rudy says, hello, midfield dilemma, Man City, Liverpool, or Brighton assets. So the thing with Liverpool assets is they're probably going to blank in 26 and 29. You could bank on them for the double in 25 if they do get it. But which Liverpool midfielder right now would you say is definitely going to start both matches in the double if you're going to bring them in? I don't think you can say that Jota is going to start both. Neither can you say Diaz. Maybe Darwin Núñez, I guess, if Darwin Núñez is maybe taken off early in the first match of the double, I would think there's a good chance that he will start the next match in the double as well. So I guess thinking ahead, I don't think there's a lot of midfielders I would say for sure from Liverpool I'm confident of going for. For Man City, maybe Phil Foden, and for Brighton, it's going to be Pascal Gross. I think you will play with 9 players, Solanke and Taylor out. I mean, I heard some rumors about Solanke, but I just can't have more moves for Solanke at least. I don't think I'll be taking a hit for Solanke. And I see no reason. I guess I'll probably just keep onto him and hope he plays. Any forward for a 1 week punt? 1 week punt? If it's just 1 week, maybe Ivan Toney. But João Pedro is great as well. It's João Pedro or Ivan Toney for me if a 1 week punt. Long term, there's going to be João Pedro. Darth Visual says, good day, watching the stream at 1:40 a.m. in Brisbane, Australia. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've set your team already. The deadlines are pretty late in Australia. It's already close to midnight here in Singapore. Did you make a newsletter for Gameweek 21? Unfortunately, I didn't. Unfortunately. Which two should I transfer in out of Gross, Palmer, and Foden? I think it's Foden and Palmer. I wouldn't rank Pascal Gross as highly as the other two. So Palmer and Foden would be the top two for me out of those three. Should I play Andreas or take a hit and get Pascal Gross? I don't think Pascal Gross is worth a hit, so I'll probably just play Andreas Pereira. Which one? Son to Foden and Salah to Richarlison, or Son to Foden / Richarlison and cash to Estupiñán? This one depends on whether you're able to keep Salah. If you're able to keep Salah, so be it. Of course, when I say keep Salah, it also means you have money to bring Haaland back in 22, assuming he's fit by then. So if selling Salah now is your route to get Haaland back in 22, then I'll actually prioritize that instead of keeping Salah. FPL Jelly says, thanks buddy, no problem. Should I play Almiron or Son to Foden for free? Son to Foden for free or play Almiron? I'll probably do Son to Foden for free. What's the page you opened for the transfer planner? It's fpl.team. fpl.team. Lucas says, I've got a wildcard on and I don't know what transfers to make. Well, I've made a wildcard draft. You can check that one out. It's in one of the videos on the channel. Prince Izzy says, hey buddy, help please. I have goalkeeper Dubravka and Turner, defense Trippier, Gabriel Caldwell, Porro, Konza, Son, Foden, Palmer, Gordon, Bowen. Forward is alright. So I probably will take a hit. Probably take a hit in the midfield, and I would sell Son. I would probably sell Son to either of Richarlison or Saka. Maybe. If you're alright to go for Saka, then maybe. There's Saka, Richarlison, there's also Pascal Gross as your options for the midfield. And I think it would be worth a hit because I don't think you have enough players at least. Well, I wouldn't be super confident of playing your other options, I guess. Took an early -4 to get Trent Alexander-Arnold in, then he got injured, so I had to take a -4 to get him out for another defender. I'm -8 before the game week start, went from 40k to 330 in just a few games. I mean, FPL is like that sometimes. I mean, we have to make early transfers at some point during the season. I've made a couple as well. And I guess whenever you make early transfers, you're just always... I don't feel good making early transfers, but sometimes if you're priced out, that's just how the game works. So I don't think you can fault yourself too much unless you made super, super early transfers. So I guess, you know, it's a fine balance. It's a fine balance. Who's the best captain? For me, I'm captaining Saka. I'm pretty certain I'm going to be captaining Saka. For me, the only decision that I have left is whether I sell Livramento for Kyle Walker. I'm not even considering Estupinian at this point because the double in 25 has already been announced. If I don't, then I'm just going to play Taylor. And to be fair, I don't think either keep a clean sheet, but I think there's a good chance Estupinian gets attacking returns. So it's tough. I wanted to put it off to Game Week 22, roll and not do the extra hit, start Taylor. But Vincent Company just didn't want to let us know if Taylor was fit. Should I bring Jota in over Gross, and what do you think about Tony or João Pedro? I prefer João Pedro over Tony because of the fixtures. Should I bring Jota in over Pascal Gross? I think Jota is a little bit... Actually, it's not a little bit. He's much more risky than João Pedro. Sorry. Jota is much more risky than Pascal Gross. Planning to bring Eze and Estupinian in. Should I make my transfers now or wait till the end of the deadline for the press conferences? I think now is late enough, to be fair. I mean, I don't really foresee us getting much more news closer to the deadline. Maybe Burnley leaks, hopefully. Nick says, need your help. My defenders are Trent, Taylor, Porro, Zinchenko, Lascelles. Who to transfer? 4.5 million in the bank if I transfer. If I bring in a defender this week, it's going to be Estupinian or Kyle Walker. It'll be either of these two. I got 4 players out. Better to use a free hit chip than a wild card. I definitely wouldn't use a free hit this week. No chance. I would go so far as to take a -8 or -12, in fact. How do you feel about Rashford? He's been really good lately, but who is the best to change him for Richarlison or Gross? If you have Marcus Rashford, they are starting a pretty good run, so I don't see a real need to sell him for Richarlison or Pascal Gross, but among Richarlison and Pascal Gross, I prefer Pascal Gross. Start 2, Porro, Gusto, or Gabriel. Probably Porro and Gabriel. Santos says, thanks mate, your class, no problems at all. I'm playing my wild card. Should I sell Solanke for Haaland or keep Solanke? If I had a wild card, if I was on a wild card, it would be Haaland, Watkins, and João Pedro. That would be my front three. Opinions on Tony captain, I don't mind it, but I wouldn't do it just because he's just back from suspension after not playing for so long. Thanks for the plug, VJ. Appreciate it. Sophia says, is it good Solanke for Tony? I wouldn't make that move this week. Ben says, would you get rid of Trent and Salah if you could keep? If I could keep both of them, I would keep both of them. I'm being honest here because I'm not in a position where I can keep either, but sorry, I'm not in a position that I can keep both. I can only keep Trent, and selling Salah is my route back to Haaland as well. So that's why I'm kind of stuck and I have to sell him. But if I can, which I know some of you guys are perfectly, in good positions where you can keep both of them, Salah and Trent, then go for it. Then keep both of them if you're able to. Rashford captain, I probably wouldn't go there. Foden or Pascal Gross if you could pick. I rate Foden better than Gross. What do you think of benching Jota for Pedro Porro? If I brought Jota in this week, I'm not benching him for Pedro Porro. Start Edison or Areola. To start Edison or Areola, I would start Areola. Porro or Walker. Thank you, mate. Love your channel. Thank you very much. Porro or Walker, I would go for Porro for the attacking threat. Because I think Man City do concede this week. Scott says, was going Bowen to Gross for one free transfer and rolling the second, but with double confirmed, would you go Bowen to Foden instead? Yes, I would, for sure. Would you rather have a cheaper mid like Gross or Richarlison alongside Estupinian or Foden and Gusto? Wow. That is a tough one. I would prioritize Foden. So therefore, it would be Foden and Gusto. But Gusto, I don't think I would buy Gusto now. Yeah, I'd probably go for another cheap defender. I just wouldn't go Gusto. Can I back Gusto, Zinchenko, Kowal to start? With only a Kanji left in the bank, or do I take a -8? Colwell should be fine, even though Ben Chilwell is back. Zinchenko, no guarantee as to whether he starts. Gusto, I think he should be fine this week as well. So maybe a -4 should be enough. Maybe a -4 for a Kanji out to like Walker or Estupinian or something. Is it your new team or you play the wild card from yesterday? I didn't play the wild card. This is my current team. The wild card draft that I made yesterday was just it was a different. It's just a draft. This is my actual team. Is Gibbs White a good transfer in? I don't mind him, but I would actually prefer Ilanga over Gibbs White. Kevin De Bruyne in for Son for a -4, worth it? I wouldn't bring Kevin De Bruyne in this week, especially not for a -4. Would you rather have a cheaper I've answered this one. Start Pickford or Dubravka. This one is tough. I would probably go for the one with more save points potential. That should be Dubravka, I think, against Man City. Rashford captain, I'm not a fan of that. Two free transfers is a must for me to Haaland or Salah return, using one to sell. Salah for Saka. No Haaland in my team, sold on time. Oh, I see. What do I do? Thinking Son to Foden and Salah to Richarlison, or Son to Foden, Richarlison, Cash, Trent, Estupinian. I always take longer to answer questions where the whole team is in the chat. I guess, Dawn, it will make it easier if you ask me an A or B kind of question. Like, Foden or Richarlison or something. It'll be slightly easier. Lewis says, I'm 14 in your mini league. Awesome. I think at one point you were really high, right? If I'm not wrong. At one point you were super high. Like top 10 or something. President Leach says, thanks for your feedback. Follow-up question. If I bring Pedro, I would have Watkins, Solanke, and Pedro. Whom do I remove in 22 to bring in Haaland? Well, maybe if Liverpool is confirmed to double in 25, which means that Liverpool and Luton double then, and Bournemouth and Luton won't double then, maybe you can skip Solanke. Maybe you can sell Solanke for Haaland and go without Solanke all the way until they double again and then bring him back in. Possibly that's what I would do. How are you going to bring Salah and how are you going to bring back Salah and Haaland? And I showed it just now. I would be selling Saka for Salah later on and Pascal Gross down to Garnacho to enable that move as well. Foden or Richarlison? I prefer Foden. Who is the best choice? Douglas Luiz or Pascal Gross? I prefer Gross to Douglas Luiz. Play Andreas or take a hit to bring Pascal Gross in. Probably play Andreas. I don't think Gross is worth a hit this week. What would your starting 11 be for you on a wild card? Great question. That one is in the video yesterday. Also, if I bring Pedro, then I would have triple Brighton, Estupiñán, Gross, and Pedro. Is that okay, or should I bring Odegaard or Jota for Gross and keep the other two Brighton players? Well, I think it's fine to have triple Brighton. I think it's fine. In fact, Odegaard and Jota are by no means, for me, as good as Gross for now. Watkins or Solanke? Depending on what... I mean, Watkins or Solanke in what sense? To buy? To captain? Should I buy Kevin De Bruyne for Son for a -4? I wouldn't do that. Does the Bournemouth double gaming have to happen after Gameweek 25? Well, if they don't, if Luton and Liverpool double in 25 and Bournemouth therefore can't double then it has to be after 25. There probably wouldn't be a triple game week for Luton. So in that sense, it would just be Liverpool and Luton doubling in 25. Bournemouth will be having a single game week then, and then later on, Bournemouth and Luton will have a double game week sometime after 25. So that's my prediction. Or that's Ben Krellin's prediction, I should say. Would you sell one of Watkins, Tony, Darwin for João Pedro? I'm on a wild card. If you're on a wild card, I don't think I would have Tony. I would have João Pedro ahead of Tony. Would you captain Alvarez over Saka now that we know Haaland is out? There's a good reason to do that, but I think I would still captain Saka just because Newcastle away. I mean, I never really like captaining someone who's playing Newcastle at home, who's playing Newcastle away. So I'll probably still go Saka, I guess. And I generally prefer captaining the midfielder over the forward. What's your plan for Salah back? Any idea? Right, I'll go through my plans again later. But if you want it, if you want to know it right now, it would be Saka and Pascal Gross out for Garnacho and Salah, and that would already be much later on when I've already brought Haaland back in for Darwin Núñez. I have all the same defense as you, other than Konza to Gabriel. My thoughts are Son to Foden, but I can't afford Haaland next week unless I sell Trent for a 4.3 or below, so I'm so confused as to what to do. I think you do the Son to Foden move first. Depending on whether Haaland is back next week, we can assess. And if you need to take a hit, then maybe. Right, because I think Foden is someone you definitely want for the next few game weeks. So at least you can be certain on that one. Sell Bowen or Salah or Trent, or sell two, and which two? So confused. Thinking about it, I think I would sell Bowen ahead of Salah. Right, so I would sell Bowen ahead of Salah, and I would sell Salah ahead of Trent. Because the prediction is that Trent comes back sooner than Salah. So I'll probably do Bowen and Salah out. Meaty bench this week. Haaland, Salah, and Trent. That's the nature of this week, right? Don't you think Saka is a risky captain due to his inconsistency of late? Well, actually, his numbers have been pretty alright. His numbers recently have been pretty alright. So... yeah, it's 1.09, it's 1.15, 0.12 against Liverpool, I don't mind that. 0.94 against Brighton, 0.48 against Villa. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So, I don't mind captaining him. I think he's been pretty unlucky, actually, of late. But by no means am I saying he's a standout captain. Right? It's very, very close captaincy this week. I'm so stuck. Neither I have a third forward nor Salah Son replacement. If you want a third forward, I would say João Pedro. Salah and Son replacement, there's many that people are looking at. Foden, the one that I would go for. Any chance Bowen would play next week? Should I put him on a team with Garnacho as first sub? I think if I had Bowen and you want to keep him, I would just go for I'll just keep him. You can choose to play him, but I don't think he'll play. And then Garnacho can be your first sub. No issues with that. No Saka, no Foden, no Jota. If you 2 free transfers, then go for them. Go for Saka, go for Foden. Palmer or Foden to buy. You could probably go for Palmer now and then Foden later on because of the fixture. Right, because of the fixture. But obviously you preferably have both. Tony says, thanks for the advice previously. I'll probably bench Bowen instead of selling him for gross for -8. Start Archer. Bench order is currently Dubravka, Taylor, Bowen, and Trent. Is that good to go? Yeah, it looks good to go to me. 14th in the mini league with a green arrow. I had a red arrow game week. Overall rank 10k. Yeah, that looks good as well. Thanks for answering all my questions. Really appreciate your streams. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. By the way, there's about 132 of you guys. I hope I got to all of the questions. Saka, captain. Let's go. Estupinian in for a -4. Fair enough. I mean, I want to play them for the long term. With Haaland, Pedro, I'm confused for the third spot. Solanke or Watkins. I see. So that would be Watkins. Would you start Colwell or Taylor? I would start Colwell for sure. Start Zinchenko. I wouldn't mind starting him and just take a chance that he starts this week. Are you going to make another transfer? Don't you think Taylor and Lascelles may not play? I have Livramento, not Lascelles, but I honestly don't think Livramento will play. Taylor, I think outside chance. Outside chance. Personally thinking Trent to Estupinian for a -4 also just to be sure. I mean, if I do make a transfer, it's going to be Livramento to Kyle Walker. I'm just thinking whether it's really worth it because I honestly doubt Man City keep a clean sheet. Better fixture, Arsenal or Chelsea? I think Chelsea is probably the slightly easier fixture. Who will be a number 1 replacement for Trippier? It is either Kyle Walker or Estupinian. Are you nervous about Foden's minutes soon though? Great short-term pick, but long-term is a bit tough one. Surely with his form he's going to play though. I mean, in terms of City assets, I actually think that Foden is probably the most flexible and the most versatile. And because of that, he can play so many different positions. Of course, his FPL returns will be different, or the likelihood of his returns will be different when he plays various roles. But at least for now, I just like the look of him, at least until Gameweek 25. If he becomes an issue after that, maybe we look to sell him. But for now, I think he's the one to go for. My midfield is Palmer, Saka, Jota, Garnacho, and De Bruyne. I really hope those who go for... I honestly don't think De Bruyne will start, but there's every chance that he comes on. And he does something. Even already in the FA Cup, we saw he came on and already got an assist. Should I sell Son for Odegaard? Not my preferred replacement. Palmer captain, fair enough. What's your gut feeling on Jota or Luis Diaz? If I was choosing one, I would go for Jota. Right, but once again, I'm not super confident of their minutes. BJ, thank you for being a member for 1 month. Thank you very much. Who do you sell first? Cunha, Solanke, and Watkins. Probably Cunha. Diaz placed left first half, right second half. Well, the thing for me with Luis Diaz is just, firstly, he doesn't play the full game. And secondly, I would say that Jota is more likely to play through the center. And obviously, playing through the center just means you get more goal threat. So that's why I think explosiveness-wise, I would probably still go Jota. But I do understand if you guys like Diaz as well. Shah out for Estupinian for a -4. Yeah, I think that could be worth it. Foden or Saka for Son. If I do Foden, I can upgrade Archer to João Pedro. I guess because the combination of moves looks good, Foden and then you can upgrade Archer to João Pedro. Probably go there. And to be fair, Saka is not that much of a standout option as compared to Foden, so I don't mind just forgoing Saka. De Bruyne 5-pointer coming up, possibly. Surely a liver upgrade makes Haaland even more difficult. Would I not rather sell Trent? I have Lascelles and Taylor, so I'm especially keen on defense. I see. Torn between Lascelles or Trent. Okay. Well, it depends how much money you have, right? It seems as if you can't upgrade. So if Trent is your route back to Haaland, I don't mind it. If Trent is your route back to Haaland, I don't mind selling Trent. Yep. I sold Son for Douglas Luiz. I can now bring Haaland next week for Alvarez and sell Saka for Salah when he returns. Holding on to Bowen and Trent, so I have to start Luiz and Konsa. Yeah, those look fine. Watkins captain. Not my favorite. No, on penalties. Not many routes to points. Not my favorite. If you sell Cunha, who do you buy? If no Haaland, also have Solanke and Watkins. Well, my assumption is that Cunha would make way for Haaland next week. That's what I meant when I say sell Cunha. I mean, eventually you're going to want to bring Haaland back in. Potentially you want to keep Solanke and Watkins as well. Gross to Gordon or Estupinian to Livramento. You mean the other way around. Gordon to Gross or Livramento to Estupinian. I would say... because Gordon has good fixtures after the Aston Villa game in 22. So I'll prefer the Livramento to Estupinian move. That one seems more long-term. Like longer term, I would much prefer to have Estupinian and Gordon as compared to maybe Estupinian and Pascal Gross longer term. It's only because Gordon has Man City now and Aston Villa next week. That's why people aren't going for him. But actually, if you move to Game Week 23, I think Gordon is one of the options that people will be going for. How do you see De Bruyne? I don't think he's an option yet. I don't think he's an option just yet. What do you think about playing Porro and benching Jota due to risk? I mean, if you've brought Jota in, I think you start him. Yeah. 6.7k by the end of the stream. Not sure where we're at the moment. Can we get to 6.7? Can we get to 6.7? We are 18 subscribers away from, I have no idea if, let me just see if I can put it up on screen. Right. We are 18 subscribers away from 6.7k. Hopefully we can get to 6.7. Let's try to get there. We're on the road to 7,000, guys. Hopefully we can get there by the end of January. There's going to be lots of content, by the way. There's going to be chip strategy. Prepare the content for that one already. It'll be out sometime next week. Also, we're going to discuss a bit about the future doubles and blanks once we know the FA Cup results and also the AFL Cup games are finalized. So come next week, there's going to be lots of content that I think should be quite useful. What about Matty Cash? Will he play? I don't think Matty Cash will play. Richarlison or Gross? I prefer Pascal Gross to Richarlison. Tony or Darwin for Cunha short term till Haaland returns. I would go short term until Haaland comes back. I think Haaland's back next week, to be fair. Maybe Tony. Which two of these would you start? Porro, Gusto, Garnacho, and Bowen. I would start Porro and Gusto. Probably go that. João Pedro captain. I don't mind it. I think he's a good differential. Richarlison, Pascal Gross, Luis Diaz. If you're asking me to rank it, I would probably say I'll probably go. I prefer Pascal Gross to Richarlison, so I'll probably go Pascal Gross and then Richarlison and then Luis Diaz. Arthur says, "Hey mate, just cut your hair, looking good." What I do with Bowen? Yes, I just cut my hair. What would I do with Bowen? I would probably. I mean, if you have a good enough bench, you could keep him, but I would probably sell him if it means that you'll be able to field 11 players. One free transfer, keep Cunha or bring Darwin. Oh, I see, Lewis. I get what you mean. Then I would roll the one free transfer. I'll keep Cunha and play him this week, because I think 2 free transfers in Gameweek 22 will be really useful. Taylor's my 11th. Got to sell Trent for Haaland anyways. Do you think Foden is worth it over Gross, even though it would cost me an extra -4 for Haaland next week? Or go Gross for a direct swap next week? That one is a tricky one. Well, I think long term, Pascal Gross is not going to outscore Foden. So I guess it is worth it. I guess it is worth the extra -4 later on. It's tricky. That one is a tricky spot, I have to say. Is Raul Jimenez an option? Great fixture run, can still score against Chelsea. I mean, I would just go for João Pedro over Raul Jimenez. That's where I'm thinking in terms of third forward options. I don't mind him. It's just that I prefer João Pedro ahead of him. What would you do with Jesus? Start or sell Salah and Son or bench? I see. I would start Jesus because it seems he's back in training, should be fit to start Crystal Palace as well. And then I would keep Salah and sell Son for either Foden, Richarlison, Pascal Gross. You could take your pick. Timothy says, great content. Just subscribe. Thank you very much. Odegaard or Bowen for Saka this week? Definitely not Bowen. He's injured. I also wouldn't sell Saka this week. So, yeah, I wouldn't go there. Which one? Son to Foden / Pascal Gross, and Salah to Richarlison or Pascal Gross, or Son to. I prefer the other one if you're able to keep Salah and still afford Foden later on. Sell Salah and still afford Haaland later on. Right? I prefer selling Son and selling cash, and then keeping Salah if you're able to get Haaland later on. Start Areola or Raya. I'm starting Gabriel. Probably Raya. I will still go for the Arsenal defense. I will still go for Raya ahead of Areola. You like Raul Jimenez? Downgrading Cunha for him would be a very good move. I mean, I'm sure at this point we're looking much longer term. Surely you don't have one free transfer to burn. Trent to Estupinian for a -8. Don't really like it. Well, you see, the moves this week all really depend on whether that player they're transferring out is your route back to Haaland. Because I can't stop you from doing Trent to Estupinian for an extra hit if it means that you get Haaland back for free next week. So in that sense, it's really the surrounding moves or what else is part of your plan that makes up whether that move is going to be a good move or not. Like in isolation, it may not be great to sell Trent, but if selling Trent enables you to get Haaland later on, yes, that would be a good move. I'm going Edison or Vieira, just going against the template, fair enough. Play Villa defender or Pedro Porro. I would play the Villa defender if it is Konza or if it is Pau Torres. Pau Torres is back already. If it is Moreno, I would also play because Luca Dean is out. If not, then I would start Pedro Porro. Timothy says, sorry, meant transfer out Odegaard or Bowen to get Saka. I see. Bowen then. Bowen. Start Solanke or Cunha. Between Solanke and Cunha, I would start. Well, Cunha has the slightly better fixture this week. Probably Cunha. Will Jota start? That one is tough. The Liverpool game is not until quite a while later, so there's really no saying whether he's going to start or not. Cup of Tea says, I have had Salah since Gameweek 1 and Son since 5. Palmer 2. My team value is 106. That is insane. Haaland sitting on my bench. Who do I sell? And is Foden the best option? I would say you sell Son, and I think Foden, yes, is the best option. You're right. Rolling right now, kind of for Haaland. Do you expect Haaland to start against Burnley, even with him not being featured in the squad today? I mean, it really depends, because it's 2 weeks, it's more than 2 weeks from now. I actually think that there's a chance he could start. Keep Nunes or Solanke from Gameweek 22. I need to bring Haaland back. For me, Nunes is the one that goes. Because he will enable, Nunes going will enable other moves later on. So I think it has to be Nunes for me. And it really depends on your moves later on as well. So as I've mentioned, right, I think now is a good time to at least show you guys the plan again. For those of you who missed out on the earlier one. So we're now in 2021. I have Trent on the bench. I have Taylor in my starting 11. Haven't sold him yet. I'm probably gonna sell Livramento if I do anything. Not sold on that move yet still. So I've done these moves for 2 free transfers this week. Now to 22, I'm likely going to sell Darwin Nunes and get Erling Haaland back. Come game week 23, the plan is to do if I haven't sold Livramento this week already, I would make this move in 23 instead. So Walker in for Livramento. And then come 24, I probably roll. 25 is when I'm going to sell Saka for Salah. And then Pascal Gross would make way for Garnacho. So this is how I'm going to get Salah back. And then I would start the doublers, of course. And then come game week 26, I'm likely to take a hit. So this would, if all goes to plan, this would be my only hit of the next few game weeks. And it would be to sell Salah for Saka back in again. And also bring Bowen in against Brentford, because later on their fixtures are really good and my team would actually be in a really good shape, right? Because obviously you're going to start Trent for the next few. Garnacho can come to the bench. Palmer will be playing, so my bench would look really good as well. And of course, if I want to play Pedro Porro ahead of Walker, so be it. So the team moving forward looks really good. So really, it is just for me at this point in time whether I want to sell Livramento for Walker, whether I make that move earlier. All right, so that's currently my thoughts at the moment. Not sold on selling Livramento just yet. Solanke or Gordon? If you're starting one this week, I'll probably start Solanke. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Please do drop the stream a like if you haven't already. First time I don't know who to buy after selling Salah and Son. I already have Saka, Palmer, Gordon. Maybe you can help me. Foden, Richarlison, Pascal Gross. Lots of options that all aren't super clear cut, but they're still good options. Start Taylor or Garnacho. This week I would start Garnacho. Right, if I'm not wrong, Garnacho has Tottenham. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind starting Garnacho this week if I'm honest. Saliba, Trippier, Porro, Sufal, Pau Torres. Which three would you start? I would start Porro, Saliba, and I mean, assuming you have Areola as your keeper, I wouldn't double on West Ham, so I'd probably start Pau Torres as well. Cost nothing like the video. Thank you very much, Lewis. Appreciate that. 100 likes before we end the stream. I think we're gonna end it soon. We're at 77 likes. So if you haven't liked the stream, please do drop a like so that it will reach more people later on. We should be ending the stream in a little bit. Hopefully you guys got your questions in. If you haven't, do drop it in the chat before we call it a day. Who would you bench out of Gordon, Solanke, and Richarlison? I would bench Gordon. Would you bring in Palmer or Pascal Gross? Already have Richarlison and Foden. I would bring Palmer in. Right. So I think we can call it a day. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This stream just flew by because there were so many questions. So my throat is quite dry at this point in time. If you enjoyed it, please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. One free transfer. Bone, Salah, Richarlison, Palmer, Martinelli. Who to get? Foden then. Foden. I'll get Foden. How long do you expect Bowen to be out? I think 3 to 4 weeks is the expectation. 3 to 4 weeks. Thoughts on Ivan Toney as a captain? Well, I don't mind him. He's just not my first choice captain this week. I think I would still prefer to captain a... Please don't spam. I would prefer to captain a midfielder this week. Start 1, bench 1. Richarlison, Gross. Wow. That one is... If you can afford to bench either one of Richarlison or Pascal Gross, it could be... Are you on a wild card then? Udogi or Tarkowski to start? I would go Udogi. Any differentials like Douglas Luiz, Jota? Not at the moment, but if my favorite differential in midfielders, right, is actually Pascal Gross. He's super low owned right now. He's my favorite differential. No spam. Good luck. Alright. So we're gonna leave it here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Streamed for about 1.5 hours, so thank you very much for tuning in. Most of the captaincy poll, 535 votes, are showing Saka captain. So I agree with this one. I'm probably gonna go there. Palmer vice captain. Right. President Leacher is on the wild card. If you're on the wild card, could you play both of them and maybe bench a defender or something? I would probably do that. I would try my best to just start both Pascal Gross and Richarlison. Alright. Thank you very much, Lewis. Lots of support from you on this stream. I really, really appreciate it. And from all of you guys as well for tuning in. I will catch you guys in more Gameweek21 content. There's going to be a chip strategy video coming out very soon. I think that one is going to be quite useful. It may be quite long because I've prepared quite a couple of graphics for that one and also did a number of couple of hours on research for that one. So hopefully that one is useful. Do subscribe if you aren't already so that you'll catch that one. And also there's going to be doubles and blanks, an updated doubles and blanks video. And also, you know, the standard content, the transfer plans, the team selection as well. So do keep a lookout for those. But if not, I wish everyone the best for Game Week 21. It has been super difficult. This deadline has brought lots of suspensions, injuries, tournaments, doubles, blanks, etc. So hopefully you guys are able to navigate it. Hits aren't a bad thing this week. If you need to take hits, go for it. But if not, I will catch you guys very, very soon in more Game Week 22 content. Right, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.